Welcome to STL TV. I am Jade Harrell, and I believe in success and service. And my next guest believes that success is rooted in service and a whole lot of good, great choices. I'm joined by Thurlester Robinson Jr., author of True Success, The Blueprint. And I am excited to hear what I can learn from this blueprint of success. How did you discover success and end up writing a book to inform the rest of us?
Well, I think that a lot of times when people talk about success, everybody associate it with money. For me, I think that it was a little different. Success being just a compilation of good decisions. And so from a youth to now, just making those good decisions, like building a house, you start off with one brick,
right,
and before you know it, you have an entire building,
yes,
if you continue it up. So that's how I look at success.
Okay.
And that's what the book is about.
Well, then take us to the ground floor. Where did your foundation begin that you started to build upon to not only have a book, but a basketball academy and a church that welcomes people into success in spirit and faith? Where did it all begin for you?
For me, so my dad passed when I was about 6. So it was just a shift from like awesome, great to, a lot of trauma and a lot of different things just growing up. And the biggest thing that, I learned from that was that, every choice, every decision matters. And you get to choose. If you decide to do good, then good's gonna follow. You decide not to, then it's the opposite. And so for me, very young, I learned that just making good decisions, it builds and it helps you on your journey.
Sure. Now, I imagine a lot of that came out through your experience with basketball as well. And I believe you mentioned basketball saved your life. Things were in turmoil before you had the awareness and discovery, and then you started finding your way. Tell us a little bit about that.
So around 14, there's a big shift in just society, like with drugs and gangs and everything just really hit hard. So just a lot of pressures of different negative things.
You grew up in St. Louis?
I did. I'm in St. Louis, born and raised.
Okay.
And
what part?
North County. I started off in U City, and then when my dad passed, we moved to North County.
Gotcha.
And I thought North County was like, oh yeah, it's great. This is, back then, this is the area. Yeah, not all parts of North County.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, then in an environment that is so readily and ripe with opportunities for adverse things to happen, tough choices, how did you figure out what was good and what was bad? If it's cool for everybody else, then you might think it's good. Like, how did that start to translate into what you define now as making better and good choices?
So watching my community, my peers, and everyone around me, it was really easy for me to decide then that, okay, if I want to be different, I have to make a different decision. So like drinking and drugs and the type of activities that a lot of my peers were into, I didn't want to follow that path, between going in and out of jail and being, hurt or killed or those different things. It was like, if I want to be different, I have to make a different decision.
That's a big boy decision. And I imagine that you were hurled into some more adult considerations once your father passed and with all that transition and then all that swirling around. What are the tenets, the key pillars of the book that can make a difference for us who are starting to figure it out maybe a little later than you did?
There's 3 biggies in the book. The first, there's mental success. Now, any and everything is a choice. There's 2 ways to take any situation. You can take it negatively or you can take it positively. So if you start with the mental success, everything else kind of trickle from there. The second is physical. You know, a healthy body is a healthy mind. And self-care is very important, starting with exercise, how you eat, what you drink. All of that's very important and kind of builds your temple. And then third is finances. And finances is very important.
That house in order.
Yes. Good financial decisions make a difference.
Why financial in almost like a three-legged stool in this case, that it has that much significance? I don't hear that often placed in the same categories. Tell me why that's such a key point.
So it's just, if you're doing something that you enjoy, you know, it's easy to do things you enjoy, but there's bills and there's things that you have to consider. You have to take care of yourself. You have to eat, you know, you have to pay for travel. So if you're not accustomed to, or if you don't start practicing making good financial decisions, chances are the things you love to do are not going to pay you
So
a
what
lot.
do we do if we haven't been taught?
You get the book.
We get it's in there.
It's in the book.
It's in there. Well, you opened up beyond the pages and then started to make space for parishioners. Tell me a little bit how this grew into your church initiative and your basketball academy.
Okay. The biggest thing is, I think that for me, I think of just as a youth, there wasn't really a lot of examples, positive examples to give clarity and push you into that space. Again, for me, sports and basketball, that saved my life. And I also knew that it was God as well. Like, so everything was always centered in God. I prayed a lot, and I found myself as a young man praying very often because I was in situations that were really traumatic and dangerous and things of that sort. And then I realized, guess what? I made it out. And God made me make out. It's totally by grace. Yeah. I didn't know anything about college. I didn't know anything about any of that young. And, you know, just the decisions you make guide your life. And so that's why it was like the book, then the church.
Well, why stop there when you still have more to share, more ways to relieve and help guide and develop not just young people, but as you say, 8 through 80 in the preface. So then you're giving back. Basketball was so good for you. Now I'm understanding you played in high school. You went and graduated college, played D1 ball, and then progressed to play internationally. And now you're creating a basketball academy to help guide the young athletes and scholars in a new direction by being an example. So that's exciting. What can we look forward to? What's your invitation there?
So I'm going to, for January, every Friday, 6 to 8, I'm going to do free basketball and fitness camps. Yeah, so everybody's invited. Okay. 6 to 8, every Friday of January. Come on in. For 8th grade, all the way up to senior in high school.
Wow. Well, then that is a formula for sure for success. And true success comes with really opening up to greater decisions, having opportunities to live them out, and then having some safe spaces to explore and grow and be in those spaces. So all things Thurlester, I should say, lead to success. All paths lead to success. And I'm so glad you came on to share about it. Well, you can learn more by connecting all things Thurlester and all things True Success by visiting TrueSuccessChurch.com and ThurlesterRobinson.com to get a signed copy of the book and blueprint. That way you have no excuse to say, hey, I didn't make it. He's going to give you a personalized message and signature there. And we want you to experience all that. That's why we share these things with you. So for STL TV, I'm Jade Harrell. Keep connected with us on all social media at STL TV and, of course, online at stltv.net. We'll see you next time.